Our ninth Elevate speaker is up next. Put your hands together for Tiana Goodrich.
Myth, the bond isn't as strong. When I was in middle school, my best friend at the time and I got in a huge fight. So huge that it called for a joint mother-daughter meeting between all four of us. Halfway through this meeting, my friend's mom turns to her daughter and says, "Well, remember, sweetie, Tiana is adopted, so she doesn't understand." My mom immediately invited them both to leave while I began to cry and ask myself, what don't I understand? The hurtful comments from kids at school and neighbors in rural suburbia Georgia didn't end there, but my mom taught me to keep my head held high, so I did. Hi, I'm Tiana Goodrich. Today, I'm going to bust the myth that the bond between an adoptive family will not measure up to that of a traditional family. I myself have had the pleasure of being adopted twice in my life, not because someone gave me away. The first time, I was 6 by a distant relative, my mom, Krista, and the second time at the age of 13 by my dad, Colin. Anyone can be a role model that a child can look up to and rely on, but truly, try and imagine the challenge that comes with taking someone else's kid into your home and raising them as your own. Such an unconditional love that when the tale as old as time of nature versus nurture comes up, you don't even bat an eye. Up until I was 6, I lived in my birth town of West Palm Beach. Those years of my life are like an unfinished puzzle. My birth parents were in and out of jail or prison my entire life and the majority of their short lives. The usual suspects are to blame: drugs and money. My birth mother, Isela, died at the age of 35 from a drug overdose. I was just 9 years old when I kissed her goodbye at her open casket funeral. I mourned the idea of the woman I thought would be my mother and knew most of my questions would remain unanswered from that point forward. My birth father, Todd, died at the age of 51 after a long battle with kidney failure from AIDS. I know that my biological parents had immense love for me because they gave me up in hopes of a better life and a brighter future. And now, to why I stand here in front of you today. October 8th, 2004, the beginning of forever. My mom, Krista, chose me and raised me alongside our family. We've been mistaken for sisters before, more than once, actually. It didn't hurt that from the first moment we met, it was clear that we were meant to be. Soulmates, if you will. In some ways, I think we kind of grew up together. I inherited her sassy, jovial attitude, wittiness, and drive for more out of life. We saved each other in more ways than the obvious one. We're best friends, but also each other's biggest devil's advocate. And then there's my superhero of a dad, Colin. He's vastly intelligent, a tireless worker, and a genuine, loving, and honest man. Our trio is a force to be reckoned with, the Goodrich gang. But it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows. Just like any other family, we've had our ups and downs, and I finally must admit, I wasn't the easiest kid to raise. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Things took a turn for the worst in my early 20s. My anxiety became crippling. Even though I promised myself I never would, I struggled with drug addiction. I dropped out of college. I was Baker acted. As I continued to navigate the world, I got hit by a bus of realization about just how different I am. I was adopted. No matter how hard I tried to ignore the painful parts of my story, it continued to take its toll on me. I eventually sought help, started therapy, and was diagnosed with a severe anxiety disorder. I was wanted. I was cherished. I grew in their hearts because I was their missing piece. I am adopted. I have chosen not to let my differences define me. My hope is to shed light on the negative feelings that can come with adoption, but shouldn't weigh down a family. I'm finally proud of how far I've come. I'm unique. Someone once told me it was unfortunate that my parents and I had to work harder to have a good relationship. I laughed to myself because while there might be some truth to that statement, any good relationship takes work. My parents have encouraged me to become the woman I am today, picked me up off the floor in my darkest of days, and forgiven me even when they shouldn't have. My wish is to make a wave of change in the societal stereotype that comes with being adopted, fostered, or simply parented by someone other than your biological parent. If you adopt a child, the world may not change, but for that child, their world will change. The fact is, our bond is just as strong, if not stronger. Thank you.